sounds like a lounge band.
Maynard Ferguson.
Maynard Ferguson. There you go. 8:19 here, Big 550 KHS. Yes, Star Wars was out last night. Josh saw it, the 7 o'clock showing. He claims he didn't dress up as anybody. Did you see it, Larry?
I have not yet, actually.
Oh! You're going to be thrown out of the Geek Club.
I know. I promised I'd see it with my family on Christmas Eve, so I got to hold out.
Well, that's a Christmas gift. All right, Larry Stenneback with us, First Rule Film and Broadcast Studio. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Are you going to dress up as a favorite Star Wars character?
Not this time.
Not this time. In the past, have you dressed up as?
I can either confirm or deny the cosplay.
Let me ask you this question. What did your friends dress up as?
Oh, well, I've got a guy that dresses up as Steampunk Vader. It's a perfect Darth Vader costume, but he's in steampunk. His name's Adam Simmons. He lives in Columbia. He's a great guy.
Okay,
so.
I'm sure he is. Yeah. All right.
You can find him online.
All right. So. You're our tech guy. We bring you up from the basement every week to give us the latest in the world of technology. What do you have today?
Well, with Star Wars coming out and all the hype around it, I thought we would look at some Star Wars technologies that actually exist in the real world. Now, mind you, these are not technologies that you can go out and purchase, but they're technologies that have been inspired, like many times, from sci-fi. And
okay, so these exist. They might exist in the super rich area, but they exist
more like in the scientific world at this point.
All right.
But you can see the direct comparisons.
All right.
First one. Plasma window. And what a plasma window is, if you remember the scenes from the original Star Wars, the big Death Star, they had the big hangar bays, and there was just this bit of film that separated space from the hangar bays.
Yes.
And, like the Millennium Falcon would like tractor beam and fly right through this thing, and you're sitting there wondering, like, what's stopping space? Space is just right there.
Yeah.
They actually invented this, believe it or not. It's called a...
So the Millennium Falcon can go through this, but air can't?
So what in reality, what a plasma window can do is the limitation right now is they can only make them very small, so a couple inches in a circle. But
I heard from Window World they're $189. These plasma windows.
That'd be a phenomenal thing for Window World. So what's nice about it is it can separate a vacuum from regular air. So for example, on one side you can have a complete vacuum like space, and the other side you can have an atmosphere that is breathable. And it does allow certain things to pass through it. At this point, it allows lasers, electron beams, and radiation. So not quite the Millennium Falcon, but the idea and the concept is the same, and science is loving it.
All right.
It's potentially interesting.
Insane. What else you got?
This one's a little more benign. Hover bikes. So you remember the indoor races, with the speeder bikes going through all the trees. They've actually, over the last couple of years, made big strides in this.
All right.
In 2012, Aerofax actually presented a hover bike that worked really, really well that they tested out in the California deserts. It had two big fans front and back, and you stood in the center. And it had, of course, grating, so you couldn't fall on the fans or anything. But it moved really fast, and you could turn and corner, and it looked almost just like a speeder bike.
All right.
Really interesting.
That's from, like, what, a Return of the Jedi? Was that what
Yes, from Return of the Jedi, exactly.
Thank you very much.
There you go. The next one, again, more science fiction oriented. Your audience members may have heard about it. Tractor beams. So tractor beams we see in Star Wars all the time, where the Death Star captures the Millennium Falcon, for example. It can't move. It's caught in a tractor beam. Seems very sci-fi. But since the early 2010s, scientists have been creating lasers with unusual beam intensity profiles that allow them to attract and repulse tiny particles. Now, they are tiny, but up until, I believe, last year, some Australian scientists actually broke the record, being able to move small little glass spheres up to 7.8 inches. And they did it 100 times, and
with the laser beam.
With the laser beam, so there's you got this little glass sphere that actually weighs and they're actually able to move it almost 8 inches, which is pretty big. It's about 100 times improvement over what science has been able to do in the past. So
anything else you got?
Well, the other one's kind of way out there. It's faster than light.
Oh, because these are normal.
Yeah,
okay.
This one again we don't quite have yet, but we have the idea. Faster than light travel, believe it or not. NASA, a lot of NASA scientists basically created something in the 90s, an idea, a theory called the Alcubierre drive. I'm probably mispronouncing that. And essentially, they're calling it warp drive, which is a little more akin to Star Trek than Star Wars.
So I got chastised earlier.
Yeah.
For referencing Star Wars, but go ahead.
No, Star Trek.
No, you said the next generation.
The next generation. Yeah.
You can't say that in Star Wars.
He said warp.
It's kind of like it, but it's the same hyperdrive. We'll call it hyperdrive in this case, just to appease the Star Wars fans. But essentially, it's an idea that builds a bubble around a spaceship and basically causes it to not break the laws of relativity. That you can't go faster than the speed of light, but still could get to, let's say, Alpha Centauri, which is 4 light years away, in about 2 weeks. The only problem is currently we don't have the technology to create it. The theory makes sense, but it would require essentially the amount, energy and mass are equivalent in E equals mc squared.
Right.
It would take essentially taking the energy of Jupiter, the mass of Jupiter, turning it into energy in order to power this thing. So really not feasible for the
I
foreseeable
actually
future.
thought you can do it, but it costs too much to bring your luggage with you.
Well,
The luggage fees are what kill you on
absolutely.
on the
That's
flight to
definitely
Alpha
part of it, so.
Centauri. Quick question.
Sure.
Are the Star Wars and the Star Trek people not the same people?
Not generally. Now there are people, there are general, geeks like myself that love both of them.
There are a few transgenders, if you will.
Okay, we
right.
can call it that. The way I always put it is Star Wars is like Lord of the Rings. It's more fantasy. It has a little bit of magic element. Star Trek is what the real world could be like in 500 years. It's more based and steeped in reality and what physics could possibly do, and there's no
Let
magic.
me clarify that, McGraw.
Yes.
Star Wars is for awesome people, and Star Trek is for the real nerds.
There we go. You heard it here first. The Big 550
Thank you.
KTRS.
My head hurts. 825, Big 550, KTRS. You know what?